Bill Cosby is still doing stand-up. That's right.
That's amazing.
It is quite amazing. He is touring right now. He was in London, Ontario last night, and there were a couple of pieces to this. But first, he actually said to an audience member, he was riffing a little bit, and he said to a female audience member, "Be careful about drinking around me." Apparently, it got some guffaws like that, and then some groans, and then he got a round of applause on it. But then he actually got heckled, and we've got video of that.
Be quiet. No, stop. Stop it. That's right. Shh. No clapping, nothing. That's all right. Okay, we just have patience. Okay.
Yeah, so I think John just hit it as we came back. I mean, he's acting like the dad that we know that I guess he isn't, that maybe we all thought he was. That's not how you deal with heckling generally in comedy.
You're supposed to be. It seemed to work.
It seemed to work because
maybe you should try it.
Think about it. The people that are going to his shows now are, I've talked about it many times. I mean,
Shut up!
This is my comedy hero. So until this whole thing, I love this man. But these people are still holding him on a pedestal that is beyond. So he says, shh. Instead of in a comedy club when someone heckles you and you destroy them, and that's how it works. And then it's comedy too, and then that's part of it. But real quick before we get into the rest of it, he did release a statement about being heckled. He said, "Dear fans, one outburst, but over 2,600 loyal, patient, and courageous fans enjoyed the most wonderful medicine that exists for humankind, laughter.
Rohypnol? I'm sorry.
I thank you, the theater staff, the event organizers, and the London, Ontario community for your continued honor and support. I'm far from finished," he said. Now, just real quick, I'm far from finished. No, the reason that they're capitalized is because his stand-up special that came out last year was called I'm Far From Finished. But the truth is, and this is before the scandal, I watched the special, he was finished.
He's far from back.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
It
wasn't funny?
No, it was terrible. I mean, it was 30 years to the year of his 1983 himself special, which I think is the greatest stand-up special ever, and it was terrible. It was sad and terrible.
One outburst, but over 2,600 loyal, patient, and courageous.
Courageous.
Courage.
Yeah.
Courage.
The courage it takes.
Yeah, I don't know.
To
buy a ticket.
I would bet that they're not all fans. I think that a good number are there to sort of
curiosity.
because it's controversial. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Curiosity,
I mean, I'd be
or they
curious.
want to see him do
I'd
something
go.
like that.
I would go.
I would go, yeah, definitely.
I would go, but I would heckle.
I would not heckle.
I would.
Well, apparently, if you did, you'd
not a
get
heckler.
taken out of the building. Apparently.
You know, I saw
not
Bill
heckle?
Cosby live maybe 8 years ago or so in New Jersey, in East Brunswick. There's some theater there that one of you can probably figure out the name of. And it was when they had been talking about this stuff a little bit.
The first time.
And I didn't remember this until a couple days ago. But he addressed it then. This was literally 8 years ago. And he said something similar to this about, don't have a drink near me or something like that. So this was just going on for so long. And that's the...
Yeah, well, we mentioned it. I think, Jimmy, you were here that day. We did the show. Like, the one story I found reading when the first one, that woman...
People magazine.
The woman who had the unnamed...
She was the head of the basketball program at...
not the head, but worked in the basketball program at Temple.
Yeah.
And she had the other women who were unnamed who told similar stories. The Jane Does, thank you. And her thing had come out and they'd settled that. And that was in People magazine, this story. Like, it wasn't like on some fringe thing. It made People, and yet, and a big story. It was like a 1,000-word piece in People.
Yet he
and
was
yet
able to
and somehow it just
didn't stick.
Went away. It's really weird how that happened. But what happened
If they settled, people will give him the benefit of the doubt because of the goodwill that he...
Sure, he built up a lot of
And again,
goodwill.
he hasn't gone to trial and all that, and I do think it's worth mentioning in these stories, because even if it's 30 women, court of public opinion, and everybody attacks everybody. But
yeah, I hear you. I mean, you're not wrong for saying it.
Yeah. All right, so forgetting that, though, what do you think it says about him psychologically at this point, that he's still touring right now? The guy's, how old is he? He's
I think it said something psychologically that he thought it was okay for years and years and years to drug women and
rape them.
allegedly to rape them. So powering through it when is really seems like the least of his psychological problems.
Or perhaps he's sort of psychologically like hunkered down and convinced himself somehow that what he did wasn't wrong. He's found some sort of defense mechanism in joking about it, and now he considers himself to be the victim, the besieged one. That the media won't stop asking questions and people are heckling, and he's just trying to live his terrible life.
Well, he certainly has. I think it's fair to say that at the minimum he has a personality disorder, which makes him be able to rape women. like in this manner also. So yes, if you've known people who are and it's obvious he probably has a narcissistic personality disorder where everything's about him. He's always made everything about him. And they never, one of the hallmarks of a narcissistic personality disorder is you never admit you're wrong about anything. And you always, no matter what, you can always turn it back around on the person who's the actual victim. And somehow what they're doing is somehow more wrong than anything you have ever done.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what he's doing here again. He's doing that, he's trying to spin things around. And in his own mind, he is the victim. He is doing that. That is how he gets through this. There's no doubt about it. He's the victim here. And
right, so I guess, so basically he has to plow through with the engagements that were booked, because otherwise it's not just admitting it sort of publicly, but psychologically for him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just that, and Felicia Rashad came out this week and, and she's
very strong.
very puzzling because she said, think about it, they didn't want him to come, like that somehow there was a media conspiracy. She didn't, to prevent Bill Cosby from making a comeback. I mean,
What?
inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
Just inconceivable. I mean, even if you believe in racism everywhere, permeating every aspect of American life, like the racists who would be involved in that would be like, no, Bill Cosby, we're comfortable.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't.
Well, it doesn't even stand the test of anything because he had a new Netflix special about to come out. He had a new sitcom about to come out. So there was plenty of stuff that was being,
So those people, I guess Netflix and NBC, they weren't involved in the conspiracy.
Yes. Well, that's a pretty good, if you have Netflix and HBO and,
Chris Rock gave the answer that Felicia Rashad, when Howard Stern asked Chris Rock, a huge, lifetime admirer of Bill Cosby, and Cosby, who had really been pretty vicious to Chris Rock initially for, again, being crude, but then they found common ground and so forth, and probably met, and Cosby was like, all right, I approve of you.
And philosophically, there's a little bit of Cosby in Chris Rock's comedy.
Yes.
Differentiating between different communities inside of African Americans and all that. Certainly not to the same level, and I think that he keeps it more within his comedy than Cosby is willing to do. But they do line up in some ways. But I think that Chris Rock is a far better modern comedian.
But anyway, he admires Bill Cosby, and so he was like, I don't want to talk about it, man. I just hope it's not true. I don't know anything about it, and it's a bummer.
Yeah.
Just as that, you could support him, and Felicia Rashad say, I worked with him for years. He was unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
And my thoughts are with him. That's all. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
You don't
have to come out and say, this is a conspiracy to obliterate a legacy, which is what she said.
That's right,
Yeah, some people got to go, well, whose legacy should we take down? How about the hardest guy in the world it would be to take down? Let's do it. Let's challenge ourselves.
Johnny Depp. He's next.
Yeah. The mayor of Toronto. No.